welcome over to another new day. We'll continue our book reading Advanced Selling Strategy by Brian Tracy. And we're in chapter 4, which is the heart of the sale. Okay, so today we'll continue from page 126, which says the new model of selling. Where we just finished reading in page 124 and 25 was talking about the critical factor, which is risk. So as a customer or as a prospect, their risk to buying, and as a salesperson, their risk to selling. And how do we overcome that risk? By having adequate knowledge and information of products and services as a consumer or as a customer, and by adding to your selling skills, or let's say upskilling as a salesperson. So today we'll continue from the new model of selling. So what if there were a way of selling you could use to simultaneously reduce your fears of rejection, reduce your prospect's fear of failure, and dramatically diminish the perception of risk associated with any significant buying decision? Well, there is such a way, and that is what we are going to discuss for the rest of this chapter. It is the key to increased sales, higher income, and greater satisfaction from your selling career than you may have ever imagined possible. The profession of selling, like any other profession or area of technology, has been evolving more rapidly in the last few years than at any other time in history. When I first started selling investment, I had to learn how to use a slide rule to multiply and divide share values into the proposed investment amount. I still remember when the first handheld calculators came out. I eagerly paid $200 for one in 1972. As the calculators became more sophisticated and less expensive, computers entered the market. Today, I have the latest portable computer with a modem that gives me access to an entire world of information almost instantaneously. And the changes that will take place in the next 10 years in the way we process information of all kinds are beyond the imagination of the average person. The profession of selling has changed as well. The new model of selling is disarming, simple way of looking at how selling has changed in the past 25 years. It enables you to analyze your strengths and weaknesses and make adjustments in your performance so that you can achieve better results. The new model of selling must be contrasted with the old model of selling to understand its simplicity, its power, and its importance. The old model of selling emerged in the years prior to World War II, when customers responded to a basic form of sales presentation. After this period, sales trainers began to share their experiences in the form of lessons for other salespeople to follow. Over time, most of these sales trainers borrowed from one another and blended their sales method and techniques together into a relatively homogeneous and straightforward approach to selling anything, epitomized by the work of the sales trainer J. Douglas Edwards. The descendants of J. Douglas Edwards, most of them over 40 and many in their 50s and 60s, still teach and attempt to practice the old method of selling. But like dinosaurs, they are gradually dying out in the face of the new customers. All the sales research based on actually setting in on the sales conversation of top professionals in various industries demonstrate that the best salespeople use the new model of selling rather than the old. Neil Rackham found in his research for SPIN selling that even if they had been trained in the old model of selling, top salespeople were successful by deliberately not using it with customers. What I have found in my sales seminar with thousands of sales people from hundreds of different industries is that a transition from the old model to new model of selling leads to an immediate improvement in sales results, sometimes overnight and often that very same day. To understand why the new model is so effective, however, we should first take a look at the old model. The old model of selling divided the sales into roughly four parts, like a triangle divided into four sections with horizontal lines. The first part of the sales, the tip, represented 10% of the total sales transaction. This part consisted of approaching and getting the attention of the prospect. Usually, this was accomplished with a bold statement or a strong question. When I was just learning how to sell, it was called preoccupation breaking. It was like lightning to the process of hitting a donkey between the eyes with a 2x4 to get its attention. Only as salespeople, we did it with words or sometimes with tricks or gadgets. I worked with a very successful salesman in 1960, Joe Grundel, who was fondly nicknamed the Gadget Man. He would greet a prospect and place a 3-minute egg timer on his desk. He would then say, "If you will give me just 3 minutes at the end of the time, when the last grain falls through the glass, if you don't ask me to continue, I will leave." He would use egg timer. He would use egg timers, alarm, $20 bills, puzzle picture, and a variety of other devices to get the prospect to stay still and listen to him long enough for him to get the prospect's interest in what he was selling. Okay, this is your stock for reading this morning. Set the new model of selling. Okay, now we can't adopt the new model of selling without knowing the old model of selling. It's just like a foundation, knowing how sales began, how it was done before, and how we want to do it now. It's just like history. So what's as a salesperson, if you're trying to learn what sales is all about, you have to do blended learning. There's something called blended learning. That is using different methods to learn about something. Okay, so here, the new sales model, you have to also consult the old sales model, then know what the new sales model is talking about. So the model of selling is divided into four parts, and the first part, which it calls the 10%, is rapport, the 20% is qualification, the 30% is presenting, and the 40% is closing. So the 10%, that's the first tip, the rapport. It consists of approaching and getting the attention of your prospect using whatever method you feel like using. He gave an example of Joe Grundel, who was called the Gadget Man. What he used to get the attention of his prospect are egg timers, alarm, $20 bill, puzzle picture, and and a variety of other devices to get the attention of his prospect, so that he'll be able to educate them more and talk to them more on the sales, on his product and services. So to get a greater satisfaction from any product or services that you are purchasing, or that you are selling, you have to have a great amount of information. You have to be well informed. Selling has changed from what it used to be to another different thing. Yesterday he was giving us example of how prospect, your customers, had changed, how they've evolved. They are no more ignorant of what people used to sell. They are no more ignorant of what they buy. They are no more ignorant of how they spend their money. They have full, most especially by experiences, they've learned to experience how to like budget something and use their money wisely. So as a salesperson too, you have to upskill to know what method, know what model to use to sell to your prospect or to your customers, because every day things are evolving, there are new strategies, there are new techniques to doing things. There's not just one way. So every day you keep learning and adding to the knowledge which you have, either as a consumer or as a sales person. So that's where we stop from everything this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.